Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. Day 3 over in the US Open. Going to be going through the rest of these matches in the first round. As always, we'll go through each and every one of them. Make sure you get your comments in with your predictions. Anything that I'm going to be taking personally is going to be in that pinned comment. Feel free to take a look at that. You can take it if you want. Leave it if you must. It is entirely up to you. But before we get started, I shall ask you to like the video. If you be so kind, get yourself subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, it would be an honour to welcome you to the squad. See if we can get to 2.6k by, let's say Thursday. The next 2 days, I feel like that's more than achievable. Get yourself involved. Do me the favour. Do yourself the favour. You will not be disappointed. Very well. Now that's out the way. Quick recap. How did we all manage yesterday? Did we enjoy the matches? Yes, no. Did we win? Did we lose? Did we just come close? I had 2 parlays, both of them plus money, 1 and 1. That's the beauty of 2 plus monies. You only really need just one of them to come in. Very disappointed with the American Pie. I mean, Sebastian Korda, I kind of called it, didn't I? It was a bit of a free hit. Weren't too sure he was going to hold up, and he ended up pulling out. So we would have saved you, but Kovacevic, man, absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. I would have felt a lot worse about that, providing the treble hadn't come in. But catching off Andrei Rublev, Gabe Diallo, I was a bit ashamed of parlaying all them favourites. I weren't proud to admit it, but it had to be done. I fancied a win, and I felt like that had a really good shot at getting me one. And lo and behold, that's exactly what it did. So happy days. Although could have been a lot more profit for me, still come away with a nice little chunk. Certainly no damage done, and there is a lot to build on going forward. So share with the group, don't be shy, get yourself involved. And one more thing before we get started as well, is anyone else's YouTube on the desktop just fucked? Mine just isn't loading, so I do apologise for the late upload. I've had to upload this just through the phone, so if the quality is a bit shit, just bear with me, at least for today. I imagine it's not going to be much longer until said issue is resolved. But enough of that shite. Let's get into business, folks. Let's get it on. Right, so first off, it's going to be Musetti and Mpetshi Perricard. No, I'm not saying I'm going to go for Mpetshi Perricard. Absolutely not. I'm just saying I couldn't deal with Lorenzo Musetti today over on the hard court. I mean, we've caught every match since we've returned to the surface, and it ain't been too great. Certainly nothing to write home about. Played the 4 games, won just the 1 against James Duckworth. Quite convincingly too, but doesn't mean that much to me, unfortunately. Norrie's done him, Michelson's done him, and Bonzi has done him. He did take his set in those 3, so 3 out of the 4 certainly ain't through lack of trying. Look, from what we've seen this season, we can now safely say Lorenzo Musetti is probably one of the best. No doubt about that. On the clay, absolutely on the clay, but I feel like you would agree whatever he possesses on the clay doesn't really translate over to the hard court. Not quite. Mpetshi Perricard, I mean, 9 wins, 9 losses. It is what it is, innit? You know exactly what you're going to get. 17 and 18 on the season. Lorenzo Musetti a little bit better, 26 and 12. Much better. Most of the damage coming on the clay. 19 and 4, 7 and 7 on the hard court. Now you get Musetti around 1.45 today. I do believe he's the better player, but it's the same old song and dance with the big Frenchman, is it not? Big save. Not a lot you can do against that. Musetti may struggle against Gio today. I mean, he looked fairly decent in the Winston-Salem. He manages to win games and look decent without actually looking decent, if that makes any sense. He's like the most impressive, unimpressive guy I've ever seen. I do think it may just be a surface issue for Lorenzo. If this was anywhere else, you'd probably fancy him to get it done. Played each other twice before, both of them coming last year on the grass. Pretty much an easy one in Wimbledon for the Italian, and then a rather close one in Stuttgart, 2 tiebreakers. I do believe Musetti's the better player of the 2. If you can stifle the serve, I feel like the majority of players do everything just a little bit better than Gio. But on a surface like this, if he can fire off that serve, I'm not so sure how comfortable Musetti's going to be. Especially this version of Musetti ain't really firing on the hard court. Is he going to be comfortable playing within the pace of Gio today? I'm not so sure. And at 1.44, I certainly would not be rolling the dice
in order to find out. So I'd lean towards Mpetshi Perricard, maybe for a set while he's a decent dog. He's nearly 2-1 as a dog. May just turn up, blast Musetti off the court. Did have a decent run in the Winston-Salem. He does come round in flashes, does Gio. He'll have a good run, play shit for a few months, have a good run, play shit. So maybe he's done all he's going to do in the Winston-Salem last week. Maybe he'll turn up and look like an absolute ass against Musetti today, but I most certainly would not be touching that as far as a bet. I'd lean towards an over. Probably just give Gio a quick shout while he's a dog. You know, I'm not touching it anyway, but based on what we've seen from Musetti, you couldn't go anywhere near that guy. And then we've got Martin Fuscovics and El Shapo. Speaking of not going anywhere near that guy, I mean, now you know me, you're probably sitting there going, he's going to do it. He's probably going to go for Shapo today. No, I don't think I am. I really don't think I'm going to go for it. I don't think it can. Like, where is the Los Cabos El Shapo? I mean, anyone? Like, I haven't seen him. Fuck knows. He was fantastic in Mexico. Shit hot. And then he turned up to Toronto and played Lane Etienne. Look, crap. And then I still can't believe he got beat by Arnaldi in the first round of Cincinnati. Very, very disappointing indeed. To say you know what you're going to get is a bit of an understatement. Like, we know what we're going to get as far as inconsistency and never really know where to stand with El Shapo. One thing I do kind of know, one thing I have kind of learned, even if, you know, sometimes we say you need to see them playing good in order to know they're playing good, Shapo could put in the best performance that you've ever seen from any player in your life, and then the very next match can turn up and look like the complete shell of himself. So, look, the price seems about right, 1.8. It makes sense. Fuscovics was so good over in Winston-Salem. Took the title, dropped just the one set along the way. Did get gifted the walkover from Sebastian Korda in the semi-finals, and then he took out Van der Sandschulp, got himself the title. Happy days. Too good. And I do believe Martin Fuscovics, in the current form that he's in, possesses more than enough to pull off the upset against El Shapo today. El Shapo just upsets himself, don't he? More often than not. I do think he's a better player. I love watching him. He's one of my favourites. I always want him to do well, but that kind of clouds your judgment sometimes, does it not, folks? I imagine we're all guilty of that sometimes. Based on what I've seen last week, I would probably have to go with Fuscovics, but how's he going to hold up? How's he going to hold up after just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games in a row? Like I say, drop just the one set. You either take that as, you know, a really nice precursor coming into the US Open. It was the only tournament on the hard court that he'd played since Kitzbühel at the end of July. So maybe he's got more than enough to see this one through. El Shapo, like I said, I believe he's a better player. He possesses more shots. I think he's just more devastating on the day when he turns up, but it's the end of August now. And how many times this season have we just had to gamble on whether El Shapo turns up or not? Because if he does, I've got a good feeling he probably beats Martin Fuscovics. And at 1.8 as well, I'd be very tempted to take it. But I think that's exactly what they want me to do. I'd lean towards El Shapo based just on vibes alone. You know, given the momentum coming into this, it definitely does tilt things in the favour of Fuscovics just so slightly, but I don't know, we'll see how he holds up. Is he going to look as good as what he looked throughout the Winston-Salem? Possibly, but maybe not. And if he's feeling a little bit worse for wear, I think El Shapo could take this guy to the cleaners today, so I'll just keep an eye on it. I would definitely lean towards Shapo, just because I want him to. But as far as a bet, I don't think I could touch that one. Fuscovics for the set. If you're trusting in it, it's entirely up to you. Then we've got Quinton Halys and David Goffin. Quinton Halys. Just go for Quinton Halys. I mean, I couldn't advise you to take any one of these, but if you had to pick it for the sake of a prediction, it would have to be Quinton Halys. David Goffin's just he can't play tennis this year. 9 wins, 20 losses. That's it. It's really poor. That's really poor. Now Quinton Halys, 17 and 21. That's not too great either. 10 and 9 on the hard court is a lot better than 5-11. I can tell you that. Quinton Halys is currently on 3-game losing streak. It's better than a 5 for David Goffin. See, I can't trust David Goffin to turn up and play tennis like a normal human being. And then when it comes to Quinton Halys, there's always a couple of question marks regarding the fitness of this guy. He just never seems fit. I'm not saying he's out of shape, but he just, well, yeah, I suppose, for lack of a better sentence, I suppose I am saying he's out of shape. He just never seems fully fit. Really struggling. Struggling's probably an understatement, but if Quinton Halys is struggling this season, then what the fuck's going on with David Goffin? This is just one of them spots where there's not much going for it. There's really not. Both of them are out of form. David Goffin is in well worse form than Quinton Halys. If you go against David Goffin today, and this is just one of the very few matches that he just so happens to win every now and then, you're just shit out of luck. You're just unlucky. I couldn't advise you to take anyone straight up. Neither one can win a game. But based purely on what I've seen this season alone, I would just have to lean towards Quinton Halys. 3-game losing streak, he's took a set in every one. He's usually good for at least a set. He possesses a decent game. Decent enough on the hard court, I think, to take out the current version of David Goffin. If he turns up and he serves well, I feel like that's pretty much all he will have to do in that. And then we've got Matteo Arnaldi and Francisco Cerundolo. Weird one, even though it is the hard court. I think times have changed. I suppose I would probably have to lean towards Francisco Cerundolo in this one. The question I have for you is who sprays the least amount of unforced errors in this one? I think that's just going to be the deciding factor. I can see it. I can close my eyes and I can see it already. The two of these just whiffing balls wide for about 2.5 hours. Like I was saying about the surface, it's no secret to us, Cerundolo is most definitely a clay court specialist, although he's decent on the hard court too. He's really good, 10-5 on the hard court, and 21-11 on the clay. Matteo Arnaldi, you'd say he suits the hard court surface more than anywhere else, but 9-10, it's not that impressive. Not that impressive at all. 3-game losing streak, he's currently won 3 of his last 10, that's dating back to the French Open. Aye. Tough times for the Italian. And those 3 wins as well, I mean, I don't want to take anything away. They're certainly much better tennis players than I'll ever be, but Daniel Altmaier, Lorenzo Sonego and Tristan Schoolkate, that don't impress me much, as Sinead Twain would say. I mean, Cerundolo not much better, 4 in the last 10. Had to pull out against Zverev last time out in Toronto. But it just feels weird, because like I said, even though he does all the damage on the clay court, he was decent on the hard court to start off in the season, unless you forgot. Allow me to refresh you. Indian Wells quarter-final. Took out Mackenzie McDonald, Van der Sande, Alex de Minaur. Got beat by Carlos Alcaraz in the quarters. And then, did I say quarter-final or semi-final? I can't remember. It's the quarters anyway. It's early over here, folks. And then, well, pretty much back-to-back quarter-finals. Indian Wells and then Miami. Alexander Muller, Tommy Paul, Casper Ruud. And then, remember, we took Dimitrov to get it done against Cerundolo in Miami, and he just about did. Fairly impressive indeed. I think it's safe to say it's a bit more than what we've got from Matteo Arnaldi so far this season. He's beat Alexei Popyrin in Brisbane. I think I could have beat Alexei Popyrin at the start of the season, if I'm being honest. Leonard Tien, Binak, Kovacevic, Rublev, Wu, Daniel Altmaier, Sonego and Schoolkate. Like I say, that's all the hard court wins. Yeah, not a lot. I fear it may not be enough so far on the season for Matteo Arnaldi to stand much of a chance against Cerundolo, providing he's fit. I mean, we haven't seen him since the start of the month. He's had about 20-odd days off, so I assume he's good to go in this. I'd lean towards him, 1.7. So even with it being the hard court, I still would have to give Cerundolo the edge. He's just been much more potent so far this season for me to go against him. So yes, Cerundolo or nothing in there. And then we've got Alexander Bublik, Marin Cilic. You want to go with Bublik? I want to go with Bublik. I feel like if I had to choose it, I would most definitely go with Alexander Bublik in this one. You kind of just, he didn't do much to start the season, and then come the clay, and then especially on the grass, this guy just turned up. He came, he conquered, and then he just pissed off, and he left us all wanting. Fantastic in the French Open. Really good in the French Open, just I'm just thinking back, I'm looking at the results here, and I remember the games. Remember what he done to Jack Draper. It was fantastic. He then won the title over in Hull. He then got himself the title in Gstaad, and then the title over in Kitzbühel. So this guy had won a grass title and 2 clay tournaments in the space of what was essentially a month. Like I say, he took over, and then he just disappeared. And I've been thinking since pretty much the end of last month, where's Alexander Bublik? Where is Alexander Bublik? But it appears to me that this guy has been getting himself well and truly prepared for the US Open. I'm very excited to see what he can deliver. I mean, even if he wins this match, it'll be an improvement on the previous 2 years. Back-to-back first-round exits, isn't it? Not exactly what I'd want to see coming into this, providing I fancy the piece of Alexander Bublik. He's around 1.5. 1.5 is the favourite. That seems to be the price we've been getting him at. Don't it? Even when he was playing good, he was usually around 1.4, 1.5. Now, these have played each other 3 times before in the past. Marin Cilic has won every single one. Twice on the clay, once on the grass. Now, they haven't played since 2022. Now, look, going off the age of them, there's a bit of a discrepancy in age here, isn't there? I mean, quite a difference. But I'm not too sure if that's going to count for much. I mean, Marin Cilic, as much as we've just been praising Alexander Bublik and the form and the momentum, you could say Marin Cilic is coming into this one with just the same amount. I mean, he had a decent time in Wimbledon, round of 16, until he got beat by Flavio Cobolli. He beat Jack Draper too, over in Wimbledon. Got himself a title on the Challenger Tour prior to Wimbledon as well. I think that was on the grass. It was Nottingham Challenger, of course. So he's far from done, as is the case with many of these crafty veterans, as we like to call them. They'll still win. They'll still be getting wins. 11-7 on the clay, 2-2 for the hardcore for Cilic. Isn't that much? Not much to write home about. But let's not forget, Alexander Bublik, man, 5-7 on the hard court. He weren't that good either. Now, we haven't seen him since the start of the season. Got to the final on the Challenger Tour. But apart from that, first round exits in Adelaide, Australian Open, Doha, Dubai, Indian Wells, final on the Challenger Tour, and then round 2 in Miami. Cause for concern, just a little bit. As far as a prediction would go, it would have to be Alexander Bublik or nothing. I haven't seen him for quite some time, but what we've seen of him last, he was unbelievable, weren't he? No one was coming close. I do believe Marin Cilic possesses the know-how on how to approach a matchup like this. I do think he's more than capable of beating him, as history would suggest. He's tried 3 times and he's failed every single time, as Alexander Bublik. So I just approach it with a little bit of caution. Maybe take Marin Cilic for the set while he's a dog. I don't think it is that bad of a shout. Bublik to win it though. I'd be a little bit disappointed if he was to get sent home in the first round, wouldn't you? So we'll move on to Alexei Popyrin. And oh my god, I was mentioning this guy not that long ago. I've been thinking for ages, what the fuck happened to Emil Ruusuvuori? Man, I can't believe he's back. And he's 11-1 dog as well. Shit, how times have changed. This guy used to be really good. I was going to say anyone remember this guy, but he was literally on the tour not that long ago. He just disappeared. But Ruusuvuori was really, really good. I can't remember when I last seen him. It was a Grand Slam, I think it was. It was a Grand Slam or a Masters. And he turned up in the first round, looked like absolute shit. It was quite some time ago. I don't think I've seen him since. I think he's been dealing with some shit off the court, to be fair to him. So I'm just happy to see him back. 6-9 so far this season. Got to ease your way into it. You can't just come back and pick up where you left off, unfortunately. 1-4 on the hard court. It's not too great. He was much better than that. Seems to have been really struggling on the Challenger Tour. He was literally just on a 4 game losing streak with an ITF match in between. It's a shame. It is a shame. Alexei Popyrin, I would imagine he's going to beat, oh my god, 1.05. Fucking hell. Fuck me. We're getting sinner prices for Popyrin here. These did play each other in 2023. 6-2 and then 6-1 for Ruusuvuori in the second, and then 6-3 in the third for Popyrin. He got it done, a bit of a scruffy match. Like I say, Ruusuvuori was really good, but I fear he's He's not half the man he used to be, as Paul McCartney would say. It's got to be Alexei Popyrin every day of the week. However you want to go about your business on that is entirely up to you.
Right, so the next one, got Hugo Gaston and Shintaro Mochizuki. I'll be going with Mochizuki on this one. Much more suited to the hard court. Come through qualifying, look fairly decent. Radionov and Borichaga in 3, and then Daniel Galan in straight sets. Hugo Gaston is on a 4-game losing streak. He did have to drop down to the challenger after Cincinnati, and he even got sent home in the first round on that too. So yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good for Hugo Gaston. This guy's been struggling since the French Open. I don't really bother with this guy's matches, to be honest with you. He's very hard to trust. Very hard to trust sometimes. More often than not, there's been times over the seasons gone by I've seen Gaston turn up and just basically not take it serious, to say the least, without getting into it. Mochizuki, I feel like if anything, he is only suited to the hard court, especially this season anyway. 2-6 on the clay, rather. 11-3 on the grass. It's good. Didn't see that. 11-3 on the grass, 23 on the 12. I suppose the point being, he tends to thrive in the quicker conditions. I'd be taking him. I think I'd be taking him. Would I be taking him? 1.6. I think you could probably trust him to get it done. Probably trust it to get it done. I mean, like I said, Hugo Gaston. If you bet against him on this, and it just so happens to be the match where he turns up and he wins, he will eventually win one. You're not going to lose forever. Then I'd just say you were very unlucky. Very unlucky. Mochizuki's won 7 of his last 10. Going back to Toronto. So he's in good form. Got to the semi-finals on the Challenger prior to qualifying for this. Got some good games under the belt. Some nice hard-court matches prior to this. And I mean, like I say, 3 under the belt in qualifying, as opposed to Hugo Gaston, who can't even win a set against anyone at the moment. So, say Mochizuki or nothing, if you were having a go at that. Got Biliadis and Felix Auger Aliassime. Oh, what the fuck? Got Felix at 1.07. 1.07. Now, you don't need me to sit here and say who the better player is and who should win. And to say Felix should win any of these matches anymore, I'm going to stop saying that. Because a lot of them should win. Just because they should doesn't mean they will. And it feels like when I expect them to win games like this, he really struggles or ultimately shits it away. Biliadis didn't even qualify. He didn't qualify. He did get beat by Wong, but maybe that's not as bad in hindsight. Now, after watching Wong play Kovacevic, he just bullied him. The fact that Wong turned up to the States and just slapped Kovacevic up in straight sets weren't ideal for the bet. It didn't matter in the end. Absolutely not. There was no damage done, but it was rather satisfying to watch. I won't lie, he played really good. So maybe I'm not surprised he beat Biliadis as well. How many times this season have we seen this? Lucky losers. You haven't come through qualifying, and the next thing you know, you're in the semi-finals. Now, that's not going to happen with Biliadis, absolutely not. He'll probably not even get past Felix, But at 1.07, I don't know what you're going to do with that. You're certainly not touching any sort of spread with Felix with the way he plays. I mean, fairly decent in Cincinnati, till he bumped into Yannick Sinner, and he stood no chance against him. Beat Echeverry, Rinderknech and Benjamin Bonzi. I mean, there was a few people saying he didn't really do much prior to the Sinner match, but he took out Benjamin Bonzi, man. Benjamin Bonzi is technically a top 10 player, mate. Fucking say what you want. Nah, I'm only joking, but yeah, no, I kind of get it. Bautista, Agut, James Duckworth, Tsitsipas prior to that. They're not the best, they're not exactly in the finest of fettle, to say the least, apart from Benjamin Bonzi, of course, the top 10 player. I would have to assume Felix gets this done. Be very shocked if Biliadis turns up all low. Like I say, the rule applies. You would probably just have to look at Biliadis on the points, maybe look at it over if you were seeking some value in that. You definitely could keep it close, but how much you'd expect from someone who didn't even come through qualifying? It's never a lot. But maybe I think sometimes that makes them play a bit better, a bit more free. Not to lose. You weren't even supposed to be here anyway, so you may as well give it your all, right? So I'll move on to Tsitsipas, Alexander Muller. Can't remember who it was, but there was someone in yesterday's video in the comments, and I feel like they've been waiting for this one since the draw come out, just to fade the fuck out of Tsitsipas. Can't remember who it was. You're probably watching. Please make yourself heard. I was laughing when I read that because I kind of agree. I don't disagree with you at all. They played each other twice before. Tsitsipas has won both of them. Most recently in Rome on the clay. Not surprised there. And then Shanghai last year. Oh, Tsitsipas, man. Tsitsipas, I'm sick of sitting here week in, week out and going, Tsitsipas should win this. He has to win this. He should win. He's won 3 of his last 10. That's dating back to mid-June over in Germany when we were on the grass. You know what I mean? Since that, he's beat Fabio Madison in Cincinnati. That is it. That is it. He beat Big Foe in an exhibition. I mean, Valentin Roy has beaten Bautista Agut, Felix, O'Connell, slapped the shit out of him. He beat Fabio Madison in the second round. Benjamin Bonzi done him. And then, done him in straight sets. The eye test proves all. We've watched this guy all season, and for that fact, we've watched every tournament. We are yet to miss a single tournament or a match for that fact. Shout out to us. We've done very well. And we know what we've seen with Tsitsipas, especially as of late. He just can't play. I don't know what it is. He can't play. It kills me to say it, but say I don't know what it is. There's a few things that it could be. They all just sort of mesh into one, I suppose. However way you swing it, it's a volatile mixture. This guy is really struggling. And I find myself saying more often than not, take away the players at the moment, the one and the backhand. That just seems to be the key to victory for everyone at the moment. Unless you're Roger Federer, I am no longer willing to roll the dice on your one and the backhand first game in the tournament. New rule on the channel. Make sure you remind me of that. But Alexander Muller, I mean, come on, it's just, am I really sitting here just automatically taking Alexander Muller to beat Tsitsipas just because of the form, the current lack of momentum? I don't know, it feels wrong doing it. I will always believe Tsitsipas can beat Alexander Muller, always. But Tsitsipas can't beat anyone at the moment. He cannot beat anyone. And you know what? I think I just have to agree for the sake of it, with it being the first round with the guy in the comment yesterday. You're getting Tsitsipas around 1.5, barely 1.5. Now, the poorly sports of seasons gone by would have seen Tsitsipas at that price. Actually, you probably never would have got Tsitsipas at that price against Alexander Muller, because he's never really been in this bad of form. 1.5, that's so tempting. You'd see it and you go, I have to. You can't ignore Tsitsipas at that price. I think it's a trap. I think it's just a trap, like it has been pretty much every game for the past 2 months. You're always going to get him as a decent favourite because he's one of the best players in the world on his day. But the Tsitsipas that stands before us today, he's I'll say it again, he's half the man he used to be. He really is. He's going through it. Our boy's going through it. He's in his own head, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him turn up and struggle against Alexander Muller today. Absolutely not. Kills me to say it, but it's just the way of the water. You've got to expect it, haven't you? So next up, we've got Daniel Altmaier, Medjedovic. I'll be going with Medjedovic in this one. Didn't look too great against Mpetshi Perricard, I will admit. Everyone was fuming in the comments. Everyone was like, this guy looked high. He kind of did. He turned up and looked dumb. Looked nowhere near as good as what he did against like Rinderknech, Fearnley, Diallo, what have you. Playing Mpetshi Perricard, he did say that it's kind of like playing himself. He was just going to save you out. He was just going to bully the other one with the power and the strength. It is what it is. Daniel Altmaier, this is so winnable for Medjedovic. Even though he's coming off an absolute stinker, I would always think he's going to get it done against the likes of Daniel Altmaier. On the hard court, in the quicker conditions, if this was on the clay, different story. As a matter of fact, if we were on the clay, I'd probably be sitting here giving Daniel Altmaier a really good shout, especially around 3.6 on the decimal. But you know just as well as I do, if it was the clay, we wouldn't have been getting Daniel Altmaier nowhere near a price like this. 1.3 is the price you're paying for Medjedovic. Surface issue, innit? Surface issue, complete contrast in styles in this one. I think Medjedovic, as is usually the case, especially against these clay babies, you're going to be too big, you're going to be too strong. I don't know if Daniel Altmaier is going to be able to deal with the pace and the power of Medjedovic today, providing he can deliver his game, providing he can implement the game plan. Excuse me. I think I might get fucking laryngitis or something. Oh my god, like my voice is terrible in the morning. I do apologise. But yeah, Medjedovic or not. Too big. The man's too big, the man's too strong, as the song goes. Daniel Altmaier's won 3 of his last 10 as well. That's going back to Mallorca on the grass. So not only is he not really suited to the hard court, but he doesn't really seem suited to the fucking ATP Tour at the moment. So it would have to be Medjedovic for that one, and me. Very steep, 1.3. Probably wouldn't go near it. Although I said that in yesterday's video, and I ended up parlaying all 3 of them, and it ended up coming in. So happy days. But yeah, probably not ideal to parlay Medjedovic today. Although I imagine, you know me, I can't help myself more often than not. Medjedovic to get it done. And we'll move on to Gael Monfils and Roman Safiullin. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. You just can't go. You can't place any money on Monfils. That's a fact. Nothing personal. You know, we all love Monfils. We're team Monfils over here, and we know. Say it every time. The fact that we just get to watch him turn up and play is enough for me. It's enough for me at this point, more than enough. Roman Safiullin, just how much he probably should be getting it done. It kills me to say it, but I feel like 90% of players probably should be beating Gael Monfils at the moment. How much do I expect from him? I'm not too sure. On his day, look, early doors, I always say, if you're going to take Monfils, if you feel like he's going to get it done, he definitely possesses more than enough to take out Roman Safiullin. He could turn up and make Roman Safiullin look like an idiot today. He's still that good, you know, when he can deliver it. 14-9 on the season for Monfils on the surface, and then 8-11 for Roman Safiullin. He's still got it, but he seems to be fleeting as of late. You're talking 2 in his last 10. You know, this is prior to the French Open as well for Gael Monfils. It's not looking good. He's really struggling. Roman Safiullin, if anything, I mean, Roman Safiullin's just the type of guy who'll turn up and not give you the win, but you know, given the current state that Monfils is in, I feel like Roman Safiullin is most definitely a beatable opponent. As I said, I'm not going to waste too much time, and I find myself sitting here just going round in circles. I could talk about a matchup like this for ages, but I'm just not going to. The man said it himself. Don't be better. He basically said it without saying it. He was like, if you're putting money on me at this point, you're a damn fool. You're a damn fool. And I don't want to say I kind of agree, but I kind of agree. It's just there's no longer any business to be done. With Gael Monfils, that ship has sailed. Shop's closed. Done. We just see him. We just enjoy him while we've got him until he inevitably rides off into the sunset, and we can look back on the career and say, you know what, he was an absolute fucking beast and a pleasure to watch. But as far as a bet goes, it would have to be Roman Safiullin, I suppose. Still feel wrong saying it. I want Monfils to win. Do I expect him to? Maybe not. So it's what I've been reduced to when it comes to the Frenchman at the moment, folks. Right then, folks, we'll speed run the rest of this shit. Most of these are really big favourites as well. There's a couple of stinkers tossed in, so we'll try and waste no more time with it. We have got Bautista, Agut, and Jacob Fearnley. Now look, like I said, I could talk about this for ages, or I could talk about it for a few seconds. Bautista, Agut, even though, you know, he probably is the much more trustworthy player at the moment when it comes to hardcore tennis anyway. I mean, Jacob Fearnley started off really good, but he has most definitely dropped off ever since Queens. I mean, 3 wins in his last 10, going back to Queens as well. It's not looking good. Not looking good. Just the 1 win since we come back to the hard court, and that was in qualifying for the Challenger tournament. Not having it. I'm not having it. I would love Jacob Fearnley to win, but he seems to be struggling at the moment, man. He seems to be really struggling. I would have to lean towards Bautista Agut. He is a very slight favourite in this, 1.7 to be precise. I've just seen more. I'm not truly convinced. I'm not picking it with a lot of conviction, but based on the bad run of form of Jacob Fearnley, he does seem to be in the mud at the moment. So I'd love me boy to win. I'll be cheering him on. But do I expect him to? I don't know. I think Bautista Agut may prove to be a bit too tough of a task for me boy today, so I'll be leaning towards Bautista Agut in that one. Then we've got Nuno Borges, Brandon Holt. Similar feeling with this one, but even still, Nuno Borges, massive favourite, 1.36. This guy has been in the mud at the moment. 4 of the last 10, you're dating back to Eastbourne, you know, before Wimbledon. But just the 1 win since we have returned to the hardcourt surface. A very close one against Facundo Bagnis. He is on a 3-game losing streak. Casper Ruud, Rinderknech, and then Kamil Mascherach all in straight sets. So is Brandon Holt. I mean, Zachary Zwader, Tristan Boyer, Mackenzie McDonald. I'll kind of take losses over Casper Ruud and Artur Rinderknech. And even Kamil Masharak in the form that he's in over on the hard court since he won that title over a loss to Zachary Zwader and Tristan Boyer and Mackenzie McDonald. Simple as that. You know, Brandon Holt can't even beat the Americans. He can't even beat the Americans, you know. Nuno Borges, I don't think Brandon Holt's going to beat him. Even though we are in the States, I don't think it's going to matter for much. Borges is just better, isn't he? He's just a better player, and he's not going to continue to play like shit forever. 1.35, I mean, given the current run of form, given the current version of Nuno Borges, he still comes into this one as a 1.35 favourite. I feel like that tells you all you need to know. I couldn't see Brandon Holt getting this one done. I just think there's levels. And there's only so much that being in your home country can do for you. I mean, going off yesterday, it didn't do very much for any of them, did it? Apart from what? Like, big foe. He was always going to win. Kovacevic was shit. Korda couldn't do nothing. The only reason Martin Dam won is because fucking Darwin Blanche was American as well. So it's like, kind of had to give him that one by default. Did anyone else win? No, McDonald got beat. Oh, Tristan Boyer. Tristan Boyer slipped through the cracks. Alright, I'll give you that one. Was it just Tristan Boyer and Big Foe? Maybe. Mickelson got beat, that was the other one. Yeah. Not a good day, surely. Oh, Marcus Garon. It is what it is. Maybe more than one than I thought. Zachary Zwader in the first. That was the first day. I'm going back. Oh, it is what it is. Doesn't matter anyway. Me point being, they weren't that good, is what I thought they were gonna be. Borges or nothing. Borges or nothing for me. Then we've got De Minaur and Christopher O'Connell. Alex De Minaur. Better Australian, better player, 1.05. Christopher O'Connell has beat him the last time they played, and it was the only time they played, due to a walkover in Toronto. And this was back in 2016 when he beat him, so forget that. Alex De Minaur every day of the week until we get better prices with him in the later rounds, providing you get there. Zverev's playing Tabilo, 1.02 for Zverev. I refuse to believe Tabilo is going to beat Zverev on the hard court. You know, it's not Djokovic, is it? This isn't fucking Djokovic. We're talking about Tabilo. I can't see him beating Zverev, unfortunately. Zverev beat him last year on the clay. I would have to assume he's going to beat him this year in the US Open on the hard court, 1.01. Like, you're nearly losing money if you bet on Zverev and he wins. It's fucking unbelievable. It should be illegal prices like that. And then Tommy Paul, Elmer Moller. This could be a little bit closer than what those odds are suggesting. Elmer Moller's quite good. I mean, maybe not on the hard court, actually, absolutely not. 0-5 on the hard court, 23-12 on the clay, and if it was on the clay, maybe there's an argument that could be made for Elmer Moller in this one, but US Open, hard court, first round, it would have to be Tommy Paul for me. Back-to-back round of 16 in the slam for the American. Tommy Paul's what I refer to as the last of the Americans. You know, you've got Taylor Fritz, you've got Ben Shelton, and then you've got Tommy Paul just sort of tailing behind them, and then the rest of them, it's just like, yeah, I don't know what's to be done with the rest of them, to be honest with you, but Tommy Paul's really good. I can say that with confidence. He's a really good tennis player. 11-5 on the hard court this season. Surely he gets past Elmer Moller. Surely Tommy Paul's not going to get sent home first round in the US Open. I refuse to believe that, folks. It would be Tommy Paul, or not. As far as the prediction goes, it's definitely Tommy Paul, but at 1.05 there is certainly no business to be done with that. And I feel like there's one more, or there's a couple more that's escaped us, a couple stinkers, and then another bit. Jannik Sinner, Vic Kopriva, 1.01. What are we doing? What are we even doing here? You know what I mean? These may as well just not even bother playing until like we get to like the quarters, the round of 16, because these games should be illegal. There's just no point, is there? There's just no point in these matches whatsoever. If you ask me, 1.01. Yeah, Jannik Sinner, number one seed in the US Open, favourite to win it. Dare I say, he probably does win it? I don't know. I mean, it's him or Alcaraz in it. That's it. That's pretty much all but a given. Jannik Sinner beats Vic Kopriva, in my opinion. And then we've got Sonego and School Kate. Look, Sonego's a big favourite. 1.4. I can't trust them. Certainly at 1.4. I think these are fairly similar in the way they play. They possess a lot of similarities. Tristan Schoolcake serves really well. We've seen it throughout a couple of the matches on the tour this season, mainly in Toronto. When he plays Joao Fonseca, he looked really good. Hasn't really managed to recapture that since. Kind of struggling, to say the least. Really struggling. I mean, had to drop down to the Challenger Tour and got sent home in the first round by Bebet Sakayev. Didn't even qualify for the Winston-Salem. I mean, realistically, Sonego should be beating the likes of a Tristan Schoolcake. But Sonego is far from trustworthy, man. I mean, I say it all the time. 50-50 player. 50-50 player, man. 10-10 on the hard court this season. He's yet to play a game in the US Open, so with him being a 50-50 player, he'll probably win this first one, but then he'll probably lose the second one. It's a tough one. Tristan Schoolcake, 30-20. He's pretty much only played on the hard court. 9-4 on the grass is good too. 30-20 is much better than 10-10, although the majority of the opponents, the caliber's kind of night and day. We do see Sonego. Sonego is just solidified in the main draw, and Tristan Schoolcake still dropping down to Challenger Tours and getting beat. I'd like to think Sonego's got enough to get it done. Could be a close one. Could be in for a serve fest here, these two, just trying to serve each other out in the quick conditions. Is the way I see that one going. And Valentin Royer and Boo. I don't know. I was going to sit here and say Boo. He's the better player. There's a better player that resides within. He played good in the Winston-Salem up until the time that I took him against Van der Sandschulp, and he didn't look too great, although he did manage to break back and take that second set when I completely written him off, so tip of the cap for that. I suppose he didn't do that bad, actually. Maybe I'm just a bit salty because he didn't win the bet. I think he's better than Valentin Royer. Is he in better form? Shit. Sorry if I've just destroyed your eardrums with that. Is he in better form than Valentin Royer? Probably not. I mean, as far as like a main draw pedigree goes, if we can even say that, you've probably got to give the edge to Boo. They played each other once before on the hard court. That was 2 years ago in Tenerife, and Valentin Royer absolutely destroyed him. Food for thought. I ain't seen Boo do anything all season. Prior to the Winston-Salem, he'd been rather below par, to say the least. Bit of an unforeseen run. I mean, he beat Seng, Tsitsipas, who everyone's beaten, Navone, who you should beat on the quick conditions anyway, and a close game with Van der Sandschulp in the quarterfinals. He did get to the final anyway, so hindsight, maybe that's not as bad as what it felt like on the day. Is this the time? Is the time now for Boo? Is he going to snap back into form and start winning games, or is he just going to make me think that? And I see him at 1.5, and I go, you know what? I've seen enough in Winston-Salem. I'll take him against Valentin Royer, who didn't even qualify for Winston-Salem. You know what I mean? And then he turns up and looks like absolute shit. I don't know. I'm not too sure on that one, folks. I think we could be in for a close one. Valentin Royer's decent. I've watched a couple of his matches so far this season. 6-5 on the hard court, as opposed to 9-12 from Boo. Boo's on 17-25. Royer's on 46-21. Most of the damage coming on the clay. So you do with that what you will. And then the last one, that's just giving me a migraine just looking at it, is Leandro Reedy and Pedro Martinez. Oh, I know. Like I said, what are we doing? What are we doing with some of these matches? Leandro Reedy's 1.65 as a favourite. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've caught a lot of the performances of Leandro Reedy so far this season, folks. I do know he's decent. He's fairly decent enough for what we get out of him. He's flew through qualifying, I'll give him that. Straight sets, a lot of them. The opponents, it's not been too great. Pedro Martinez, I never expected anything on the hardcore from Pedro Martinez, although he can play on it. He can play. Maybe he can't win a lot, but he can certainly play. He can hang around with people on the hard court. Leandro Reedy, I mean, is this guy to the level of even a Pedro Martinez, even given the surface? I mean, Reedy's went 8-4 on the surface. Martinez went 4-9. Pedro Martinez is 66 in the world. Leandro Reedy's not even in the top 400. You know what I mean? These should stand for something. These rankings really should stand for something, but given the different surfaces that we deal with, it can be rather difficult to gauge what should and should not happen in a matchup like this. It's easy to look at it on paper and go, Pedro Martinez, he's taking the piss all day. If this was like any other sport, if this was like MLB taking on like a AA team, you'd be like, okay, yeah, these are leagues above them. But I don't know. But all that being said, Reedy is still a favourite. I don't know. I don't think you'd ever get a team coming up from League One playing the Reds at Anfield and have them as the favourites. I don't know. Maybe that's a shit comparison, but something just feels off. Something feels off. The fact that Leandro Reedy's just a favourite in this one kind of makes me want to lean more towards him, but maybe that's a trap. Maybe that is a trap. It is still the first round. Not a lot of conviction with most of these matches, folks. Pedro Martinez, would we be that surprised if he just pulled this one off? Wouldn't being the more experienced, I'm not going to say more trustworthy, but I don't think I would. I don't think I would. But given what I know already, 2.2, it's probably not enough. I don't think it's enough. Although it is plus money, it's very close. It's very close. I don't know. I don't think there's enough for me to go off in this one. Hence why I've left it to the end. So I'll leave it with yourself, and you do with that what you will. And that's going to do us, folks. That shall do us. Once again, first round in the bag. You shall be glad to know we get cracking with the second tomorrow. It is most definitely game on over in the US Open. But I appreciate you watching. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the show as well. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. And I'd appreciate that too. Very well then. I shall be seeing you around. You take it easy, yeah? You take care of yourselves, take care of one another, most importantly. Let me know what you're going for, share with the group. Don't be shy. Anything that I'm going for is going to be in that pinned comment. Make sure you check that out. We'll see if we can build on what we done yesterday. But until tomorrow, folks, I'll be seeing you. Enjoy the matches today. Best of luck to you. See you tomorrow.